Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of Think Big and Live Large, the video series that highlights the community members of Think Big and their achievements. Today, our guest is Dr. Yichen Wang. Dr. Yichen Wang is located currently in Pennsylvania, and he is an academic hospitalist at the University of Pennsylvania. Hi, Yichen, how are you doing?
Hi, Mark. Good. How are you?
Good to
Good to
see
see
you
you
after
again.
all this long. Yes, it's been a while.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Thank you very much for taking the time to be with us and to tell all the community members about your journey so far, which I can already tell that it is absolutely wonderful. Congratulations for the academic appointment. I think it was for this year. This is your first year at University of Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I started this about 2 months ago.
Okay. How is it going?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. My home is in Philly, so it's very nice to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. Philadelphia is a great area. This is where I'm currently located. So certainly a good city to explore and good city to work in. But you actually didn't start in Pennsylvania. Uh, where did you start your medical career at?
So I was graduate back in China in 2012, and then I came to the US for a master's degree. Um, and then I joined residency in Scranton, Right Center in Scranton in 2017. Um, then I attended your class when I was a third-year resident.
Okay.
Um, yeah, yeah, right.
It was on the third and final year of your residency that you attended the Catalyst
Yeah,
workshop.
yeah. I hope I knew your class earlier than that.
That's awesome. Actually, it was great to meet you because after you took the class, we actually worked on a few projects, and this is how I know about your successes that we will let everybody also know about. So, okay, just to continue with the timeline. So you moved to the United States to have a master's in biochemistry, and where did you do your master's?
Was in Case Western in Cleveland.
Okay, yes, great city and a great institution. And then after that, you then applied for the match, I'm assuming. And
Yep.
then, okay. And then which led you to the Wright Center in Scranton, Pennsylvania. That's
Yes.
excellent. And then, so from there, how did you know about the online Catalyst workshop? Or at that time point, it was still given in person? It was called the Catalyst Large Database Analysis Research Workshop.
Yes. So I was working in the ICU at that time, I believe. And I was talking to my friend about like I want to do medical research and all that. And my friend mentioned that, oh, there's a class called Catalyst, and the people attend that thing is a good class. So that's how I know about it.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and she was really strongly recommended. So I registered class, I think the next month, and met you in Chicago. I think you helped class in Cook County that year, I think.
Yep, indeed. Yes, indeed. In Chicago, yep. We certainly had a few very successful workshops in Chicago before we moved online. But that's great. So sitting in the ICU, looking at patients, intubations, machines, PEEP,
So
most,
quite nice. So
most definitely a very typical residency talk. So that's great. Yes, this is certainly helpful to talk about research and kind of ease up your mind a little bit on from the day-to-day practice. And certainly you're also looking to kind of add research, I'm assuming, to your CV so that you can get to the next step, which you
mm,
certainly have right now. So congratulations again for being at one of the most prestigious universities and medical centers in the whole United States. Okay, so then you decided to go to Chicago. So did you go by yourself?
uh, I was by myself that year. Yes, yeah,
Okay.
my yeah, right. But I met a few friends there. Actually, someone I knew from before in Cook County. He actually
Okay.
also attended the class. Yeah, so you are famous among us.
Well, that's great. And also that helps you, I'm sure, kind of attend these grueling 2 days, 8 hours a day, lectures every day. So it's nice to have someone to kind of share everything with, which is awesome. And then, okay, and then you took those 2 days. It was given on a weekend, so Saturday and Sunday, and then you flew back
Mhm.
on Sunday, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So you had to get book the hotel and then book the flight and kind of get there and then back on time.
Oh yeah, I stay with my friend, but yeah, I booked the flight.
Well, that's helpful.
Then
It's
a
always
couple of
helpful,
$100.
especially
You know
in a
us.
place like Chicago.
I know. Yeah, it was very expensive at that time.
I mean, that's again one of the comments that we get now from the online catalyst workshop is that makes it much easier to attend the workshop because exactly you don't have to go to Chicago, you don't have to get a flight, you don't have to get a hotel, you don't have to even commit a Saturday and Sunday. You can just whenever you can just go over these videos on your own time, at your own place or whenever you are available. So that certainly is something we hear from the people like you who attended both the live and then later the online Catalyst workshop. I'm curious to know how did you find the online Catalyst workshop or the material in it compared to, or the experience of it compared to the live workshop?
Um, I think the content is similar. The I mean, both of them have like the pros and cons. For online workshop, you can learn the stuff at your own pace. You can pause. Sometimes uh, there's a lot of things to go through. So if you look at the online class, you can pause and then go back and listen to whatever part you will not you didn't understand. I
Right.
think that's a benefit of the online course.
No, that's great. That's awesome. And then the material, I mean, we added some material that we couldn't add back on the in-person workshop because of the time constraints. So now we have these added to the online Catalyst workshop already. And some of them, you probably asked me those questions because I was going over all the questions that I typically get after the workshop. And then we added them to the online Catalyst workshop, which, this way, this information will be available for the participants at the get-go. But obviously, you certainly did extremely well after the the in-person workshop in Chicago, because how soon after that did you start publishing?
Uh, like right after, I was like practicing, and I feel like the things I did was publishable. So I just went ahead and submitted to, I think at first to one of the uh, um, pulmonary conferences. I believe it was ATS was my first submitted conference. Um, and that happened like right like within a month after the basic workshop.
Okay, wow. So you submitted an abstract for the ATS, which was
Yeah.
about a month after the workshop, which is great. This is exactly what I tell people, and I tell people online too, to always consider the 2 weeks mark. If you work on a project, any project within 2 weeks, you're going to retain all this information and then you're going to be able to use it and you're going to be able to make it much easier for you to continue on that path. I think the mistake, or not the mistake, but I think the less fortunate part is when people wait for a long time before they can start on any project. This is when I think it becomes more difficult. This inertia becomes more apparent, and then it become more difficult to go along any project and then to cross that finish line. But you did cross the finish line. So within a month, you submitted an abstract to ATS.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
it was accepted, I'm assuming.
It was, yeah. It was a great surprise, and also I mean, surprise at the time, and was very feels very good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations again. You started with
Mhm.
ATS, but then now if we move or like fast forward, you now have a whole lot of abstracts and you have a total of 20 papers, was it?
25.
Okay, that's awesome. 25 papers already. Uh, that's great. So you didn't stop at the abstract, which is excellent. Uh, Again, one of the easy paths to take is to submit the abstracts, get the ATS, present, feel very good, and then not continue to write the paper, which really is what's going to be very important or what's going to make the difference on your CV. So that's awesome. You actually did present the abstracts and then you continued on for the papers. So um, how many oral presentations would you say you had, or how many awards, or well, actually, did you get any awards or did you get any oral presentations throughout your journey with NIS?
Yeah, so I was like fortunate enough. I got I think two oral presentations and actually three, I think. Yeah, three oral presentations and two of them got award. Um, yeah, one of them went to ACG. It got outstanding research award in liver category in the year. And the other one was at the UEG. Which had a traveling award of that year too. Yeah.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
But
So
yeah,
you got,
you pay you, you pay back the tuition I paid to you.
yes, it was worth the investment, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. So you got one award from the ACG, which is local. ACG usually is one of the big cities in the United States. Do you remember where the ACG was when you got the
I
oral
think it
presentations?
was last year in Charlotte, if I remember correctly.
In Charlotte. Okay. Yeah,
Charlotte. Yeah.
it was in Charlotte. Yeah. So you got the outstanding ACG award for the liver
Yeah.
category, which is great. And then you got another one, which is the UAG, which is the European DDW. And this was what year?
Uh, just a few months ago this year.
Okay, this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where was the conference held at?
It's in Denmark, Copenhagen, Denmark.
Okay, in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
So did
Yes.
you go to Copenhagen to present?
No, it is. I feel like it's too far away. I actually cannot travel because of some visa issues. But my colleague went there for me.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm sure he or she are very grateful for you
Yeah.
and for NIS and for
Yeah.
NRE and everything, which is great. I'm sure it's an excellent experience to get to travel and to present your abstract and then also to see a new city and then present and come back. So that's great. Excellent. Now that you kind of published, you then attended the advanced catalyst workshop.
Yes. Yeah. Uh, like a few months afterwards,
Okay,
after the first basic workshop.
got it. So then it was also at in Chicago.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Um, of course, the online catalyst workshop is the introductory workshop. Things are presented slowly and surely, kind of thing. Um, so, how did you
Yeah.
feel the amount of information, or kind of like the material that you got in the advanced workshop compared to the online catalyst workshop?
I think it's a little bit more difficult. I mean, one of the big things you taught at the advanced workshop was NRD, I believe, and the survival analysis and like you like the database by itself is more complicated. Um, but still, I think it was a live workshop, but I had all these materials I can review. Um, wasn't big issue to finally get it through and learn how to use it. It's just more difficult, a little bit more difficult now.
Right. For the material is a little bit more dense, and certainly the topics are certainly more advanced. Um,
Yeah,
so what was the process that you have done in order to get yourself familiar with this certainly complex material number of do files, like 12 to 15 do files, and then all the
yeah,
concepts of propensity matching and all these things. So how did you just went ahead and started practicing by trial and
yeah.
error?
I think the personally, I think the only way you can learn how to do this is through practice. Just find a topic and start work on the project. Um, and I went into like a few, not a few, quite a lot actually. Uh, issues like all these bugs, all these errors. I think I reached out to you at some point, like a few times actually, and also other like more senior researchers and also the online community. We had a Facebook group at the time, I think,
Yes.
um, and that's very helpful. So yeah, just push it through, and then eventually I learned how to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to be, it's a group effort. This is what I always tell everyone. It's a group effort. When you have a group, or at least when you have someone who you can attend with the workshop, the online catalyst workshop, but certainly the advanced catalyst workshop, this is when it becomes much easier because you can have someone to, first of all, encourage you to continue to practice. If you have a question, you can bounce it by someone else. And most importantly, it is this is the person who's gonna get you there. It's like going to the gym. If you have a gym buddy, you're just gonna get the motive and the incentive to go in and lift those weights and get get the ache, the muscle ache. But at least you get at the end also the muscles. So perfect. And yes, the online catalyst workshop now has the forum, which is the Think Big forum. It used to be, until recently, it used to be on Facebook. And so this is where you, I'm sure, asked a lot of questions. There were, by the time we transitioned from the Facebook to the actual platform on Think Big, which is the same website as the online Catalyst workshop, there were like hundreds and hundreds of questions and answers. And now on the forum itself, the questions are piling up, the answers are piling up. And the good thing about it is once someone asks this question, now on the new platform, when you're typing the question, if someone already had asked it, it just appears in front of you. And then you're just gonna look up the answer. This way you can get that answer as fast as possible. So that's great. I think you did exactly the perfect trajectory and used all the resources that were there for you, and then you succeeded. And it's funny you mentioned that you got in touch with me to ask me a question, because I remember the first time you got in touch with me after the Advanced Catalyst workshop to ask me for help in a paper. And that
Yeah.
paper was ultimately the one that was published in Chest.
Yes. Yeah.
This is how I actually, started my collaboration with you. And since then, we had multiple papers published. But I remember distinctly you sending me this email, and it was already accepted. You were in the second round of the first round of reviewers' comments.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I was surprised. That was my first paper actually. I was like, oh, let's try chest. And
wow,
next thing you know, it went for major revision. And then I got a question which was quite difficult, and so I reached out to you and say, oh, hey, can you help me out?
wow, this was
And
your very first project, though.
yeah, the first paper, yes.
Wow. That is very impressive. Amazing. Yes. And I actually was also impressed by the amount of work that you have done. Um, I, I think there was a little, it comes with experience too, the sense of like what the reviewer is asking, really asking for, and how to reply. So I remember kind of getting involved with that, and then sure enough, the paper was published. Very nice topic. If you don't mind, can you tell our viewer like what is the topic and how did you come up with that actually very clinically oriented and very relevant topic?
Yeah. So it was a topic on secondary pneumothorax, meaning pneumothorax happens in patients with lung disease like COPD. So I went to this question while we were doing a MCAT-SAP question. It was asking like, what do you do after patient with COPD admitted for pneumothorax? And like almost nobody answered the question right in my class, and only I think 15% of all people who took this question answered this right. So that was quite a surprise to me. And nothing came to my mind is like, okay, I I just attended the workshop not too long ago, and it comes to me. Okay, I think I can do this study using this database. It's an inpatient question. It involves like fluoridesis, which is a procedure to attach the fluoride in your chest. Um, yeah, it worked out. So I wrote it up. The data looks okay, so I submitted it. And it was accepted.
That's amazing. Just reviewing the MKSAP and then coming up with it
Exactly.
because no one else knew what it is. So you're like, okay, well, obviously there's a need there. And then you
Yeah,
start the paper.
it looks like nobody knows that we should do the proteases, uh, uh, and indeed in the database only I think 30% of people did the right thing. That's why the people at CHEST got interested.
That's awesome. And this is exactly the type of question that helps is a type of questions where the answer will help you. Whether it's a yes or whether it's a no, whatever that answer is, it is actually will make a difference. And this is exactly the right question to ask. So that's awesome. And I know also that you shortly after that, after it was published, you also contacted me for another paper that also got quite a bit of success. It was a cover article at the end at GIA.
Yeah. So yeah, the second paper was also like similarly we were doing like clinical work and we found a patient with steel deletion. And I was like, okay, nobody wrote this before. Sounds like it's a rare GI bleed, a cause of GI bleeding. So yeah, I went ahead and did that analysis.
It was the Delafoy lesion bleeding, and then the outcomes of it, the expenditure associated with it, and all these kind of classical outcomes, if you want, in NIS and NRD that when used judiciously, and most importantly, when used in a clinical context. Again, this is when you ask a question where the answer is going to make a difference irrespective of what that answer is. And sure enough, it was a cover article for GIE in 2021, shortly after
Yeah.
the pandemic. So again, that's great. But how, most importantly, you get the motivation to finish what you started. A lot of people would start with an abstract or do something on a regional or national level, but then they stop and they don't continue to the paper. So what is, if you want, what motivates you to go from coding all the way into getting a paper published?
Yeah, I think the feeling of getting something published is really good. Obviously, abstract is good too, but paper is something that you can like look online and get more audience. People will read about that. It has potential to change the practice. So that's something that's really like encouraging if you have something published. Um, and, and also for someone who is applying for fellowship, papers obviously they have more weight compared to abstracts. That's another reason. Yeah.
Okay. So this is what you keep in mind when you're thinking, you're like, okay, I need to finish this because those are the reasons that I look at. And then how do you find the time? Where do you write the papers? How do you code? Is it in the hospital, at home? Do you get any protected time for research?
Yeah, so we don't have like protected time, but as a hospitalist, I have plenty of like off time, which at what time I can do research. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes, because most of the hospitalists are like 1 week on and 1 week off, or the equivalent of
Mhm.
that, and then you use that part to be able to work on the research. That's great. And my understanding also that you have gotten a little bit beyond NIS and NRD and the HCAP databases, and now you are moving along to use other databases.
Yeah. So essentially, because the skills you learn from the SNRD, all the statistical analysis, they are similar. So I use another database to do a trend analysis, which you talked about that in the advanced workshop.
The advanced workshop.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, which can you share with us maybe another database that you have used, and if it is as successful as using NIS on NRD or the rest of the HCAP databases?
Yeah, sure. So we have I've been using the other database called GBD, which is a epidemiology database. And one of the papers went to gastroenterology last year.
Gastroenterology,
Yeah,
like the journal,
we don't use.
like the number one like GI journal by impact factor.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And you're mentioning it as if it was kind of like something very ordinary at this time point. That is awesome. Congratulations. Wow. So
Thank you.
you you used a database also like the database for HCUP, but obviously it has different data elements. I'm sure it has different reach and scope. But then you use the same skills that you have used or learned from the online catalyst workshop and the advanced catalyst workshop, and then led you to the number one GI journal by impact factor, gastroenterology. Congratulations. Can I ask what is the topic of that paper?
So essentially looking at the uh, burden of digestive disease, um, and trend that over like 30 years and see how things has been yeah. And we found that the burden has been relatively, I mean, the mortality has been decreasing, but the prevalence has not. So
Wow,
yeah, it's more like epidemiology study. Yeah.
that is awesome. Yichen, seriously, you are a success story by itself. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. I hope that your story will serve as an inspiration to all the members of Think Big and all the participants in the online Catalyst workshop and the advanced Catalyst workshop so that they can see what can be done and what is possible. And most importantly, once you learn those basics and those advanced topics, how you can, like you did, just keep going and look for other databases and look for other coding schemes so that you can get the most that what you can get and get that CV as full as possible and get the successes that you certainly you and the other workshop participants have had. So thank you for taking the time to be with us. Before we leave, do you have any thoughts on how someone can make it? You know, you certainly started from an uncertain place with an uncertain state of mind, with a lot of, I'm sure, questions and anxieties about the future, to actually achieving your goal and your dream to being at an Ivy League institution. So, what can you tell the participants like you who are probably at the earlier stage of your career?
Personally, for me, I got the journey from your workshop. That's why I've been very grateful for your class. Um, and it's a beautiful place to start. Um, and I think I learned all the skill sets for doing like, especially if you are a physician, for the clinical research. Uh, you provide a very good tool set to people started. Um, and besides that, I mean, I guess just ask the right clinical question, get ideas from your daily like work, and then make sure you put through every project you started. That will let you publish for sure.
That is great, Yichen. Thank you very much for spending this time with us. I am sure you are an inspiration for your colleagues. I am sure you are an inspiration for the members of Think Big and all the people who are going to watch this video. I wish you continued success and I wish you the best of luck in your academic career and in your family life too. And I hope to see you soon offline too.
Thank you, Mark. I will see you around.
All right, on this happy note, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, and I will see you on the next installment of Think Big and Live Large. Goodbye, everyone.